What's going on, traders? Sandro O'Connell with Pristine Capital coming at you with yet another market recap video. It is June 14th, 2021. Please click the like button on this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this content, and I will continue to make it for you. Today, we are going to talk about the price action in the headline indices. We're going to go under the hood and check out our sectors and style factors. We'll talk about some of the trades I took. We'll go through options order flow, the whole 9 yards. But before we do that, quick first disclaimer, nothing in this video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Please follow your own trading plan and your own risk parameters. And last but certainly not least, do not YOLO your entire account into any one of my trades. All right, so let's jump into it here. And we're going to start off with this S&P 500 price action. So let's pull this up. Here we have our S&P 500. You can see we closed the day up 0.22% on these futures contracts. Jumping over to our index ETFs, we finished the day up 0.22% as measured by the SPY. For the S&P 500, we finished up 0.96% for the NASDAQ QQQ. We finished down 0.29% for the IWM small caps, and we finished down 0.24% for the Dow Jones. So throughout the day, we had a lot of give and take. For most of the session, we were actually red on the S&P 500. And let's actually jump into our hourly chart, just so you can see what I mean when I said earlier, there's a lot of shake and bake and all that going on. So checking out this action, you can see we hit an overnight high, and then throughout the trading session, this is the 9 o'clock hour right here. So you can see overnight and into the morning, we had a little bit of weakness in these S&P 500 futures. And then throughout the session, continued weakness. It was really at around 1 o'clock when some buyers started showing up. And you can see here we had a power hour in the final hour of trading. And you can see we made our entire day's gain in the last hour of the day. So pretty topsy-turvy stuff. And this is what happens, during options expiration week. And also when you have a Fed meeting coming up, you just get this like topsy-turvy, very choppy action. Well, you can see S&P 500, we're trading above all these key moving averages, and we're well above this monthly value area. Now we're trending higher, and we're just riding this 5-day EMA. So we're looking pretty good here. Let's pull up our NASDAQ, which was the best performer. And NASDAQ finishes at a new all-time high. So crazy that just a month ago, the sentiment on NASDAQ was horrible. Now here we are. We've had a lot of strong price action, and we finally broke that barrier, trading at a new high. So I do think there's going to be a lot of players that at this point they're like, oh my gosh, these tech stocks, they just made new all-time highs, and I'm underweight them or I'm short them. So yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of scrambling. We'll have to see how the rest of the week plays out. But yeah, that is the NQ looking good. Let's go to our Russell. Russell closed down 0.39%. And you can see we made an overnight high of 2347 on the Russell. And throughout the day, it was just continued weakness. You can see we closed above the 5-day EMA though. So maybe we'll just continue to ride that in this index as well. Dow Jones is now the weakest of these indices. You can see that it's trading within value, whereas all of the other three are trading above value. And you can see we dipped down all the way to this 50-day simple moving average. Buyers came in though, and they pushed us above this point of control. And let's see if even for the Dow Jones, if it was the same story. Yep, in the last hour, you can see huge green bar here. All right, so let's pull up our market breadth. What did that look like today? So market breadth throughout the entire trading session was absolutely dreadful. There were various points during the trading day when all of these measures were at like 10% or 12%. Like they were terrible. But there are certain stocks that are behaving very well. And it's a lot of the growth names, the mega cap tech. So it's once again one of those markets where if you're a stock picker and you like high growth names, high flyers, you're probably like, I don't feel like the market breadth was awful. All my stocks were up. That's kind of the situation I'm in because I'm in all growth right now. But yeah, you can see for other areas of the market, actually a pretty negative day. Going to our heat map, you can see further illustration of that. Apple up 2.46%. Amazon was up over 1%. We had Tesla up, Google, all these FANG names, and you can see the semiconductors were pretty strong as well. The areas that were weak were all these reflation, recovery, reopening trades. So financials, very weak. Industrials, utilities, all of these very weak. And then you can see this travel and leisure did pretty poorly as well. Going to sectors here. So this list is ranked in terms of momentum, and you can see the ARK funds are back on top. I remember last month, if you've been watching my videos with consistency, you remember I was like, why is everyone so bearish on ARK? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Everyone's saying she's going to blow up. Like, she still has an amazing 1-year return, 5-year return. So yeah, it just got way too negative on the high growth names, on the ARK funds. And of course now they're at the very top of our momentum list. Worst performing sectors for the day, you can see the SPAC ETF was down 1.3%. You can see the regional banks were down 1.73%. And then flipping over to our style factors, you can see more of the same here. High beta was down 0.92%. Cyclicals were also down 0.73%. And then our best performing style factor was the growth style factor. All right, so let's jump into some of my trades for the day. Really, my intention today was, hey, I'm positioned very bullish. I'm in all these growth names. We have some very weak seasonality coming up. We also have Fed Wednesday coming up. We also have quarter end rebalance coming up. So my line of thinking for today was, let me try to reduce some of the leverage in my portfolio. So I actually did a lot of trading today, and we'll just go through a couple of these. Okay, there we go. Let me just snap this. And we will snap this right here. Yeah, so I did a bunch of options trading. Common stocks, I didn't really do all that much. There we go. Okay, yeah, so you can see full list here because I was really just clearing the deck. I had a bunch of winners that I took off. I also had a bunch of laggards that were losing that I also just purged. So Amazon, I put on a call spread last Friday, June 25th, 33.70 by 33.80 call spread. I took that off in the morning for $4.75. I had paid $3.86 for that. I closed out some Snapchat calls for a nice little winner, closed them at $6.70, paid $5.50. I closed the other half of that later in the day for $5.30, so I ended up being a net winner on that position. Some of the losers that I closed out as well, I had the remaining half of an iron butterfly on CrowdStrike, and that one ended up being a loser. Lost $2.38 on that one, but I had another position in CrowdStrike that hedged that out and then some. So in CrowdStrike, I ended up being a net winner. But really, like the idea for today was, okay, P&L looks great today. Just purge a lot of exposures that you have. See, I closed my CrowdStrike 220 strike calls for $17.55. I had paid $12.75 for those. I even closed like DocuSign. This was my best name that I've had on in my portfolio. DocuSign, I had some July 16th 250 strike calls. DocuSign still looks amazing. I closed them out for $15.80. I had paid $7.70 for those. So that to me was just like ahead of a Fed Wednesday. How can I not, get myself off of some of these leveraged positions? And DocuSign, power earnings gap right here, up about 20% on day one. And then it's just continued to grind. DocuSign, I think, could continue moving up to this yearly value area high here. So that's really like my expectation. But yeah, I was like, I just want to take some off just for prudence. That's all. And what else did we have? Yeah, and then even Futu. Futu is my second largest common stock position. And then I also had call spreads on in Futu, the 150s by 160. I closed out half of them for $4.55. I paid $2.57 for those. So yeah, there was just like some exposures I took off. I also had a short position in Tesla, closed that one out for a loser. I had paid $8.77 for that. I closed out for $3.96. I had this gold butterfly. This one closed for 18 cents. I'd paid 67 cents for that. So yeah, it was just kind of like, while things are good, let me clear everything off. Now I'm in a position where if we do get some volatility for OPEX, or we do get some volatility for Fed Wednesday, I just feel like I'm in a much better place now that I booked a lot of these gains. And then for some common stock trades, I did very little via common stock. So I added a small starter position in Upstart at 133.8. This one, my position is like tiny in this one. So normally I would probably have stopped out of this, but this is just like such a small position that I figure I'll keep it on for at least another day. We'll see what happens. Upstart, this one had some traction in the morning. Like you can see some buyers came in and bid this up very hard. And look at how much volume came in as well. So we'll see what Upstart does. But yeah, closed down 0.65%. And then the other thing that I did was I closed out a third of my Cloudflare for $95.19. I'd paid $90.35. I just figured, let me take a target. So yeah, moral of the story here is, I'm sure you're going to see like everyone that you talk to is like, yeah, I bought so many stocks today. Like as we hit the all-time high. For me, I was a net seller. So we'll see how that works out for tomorrow and really the rest of the week. But yeah, just took some targets, some gains, cleared some things up. So let's go over to our options order flow. We're going to go to our VigTech platform here. And these cryptos had a pretty good weekend. They also had a pretty good trading session today. So we'll see how they trade as well. Ethereum is my largest position right now. Well, let's pull up our order flow. There it is. And we'll see what's stuck out. So a lot of positioning in QQQ. And I saw this throughout the day where there were calls going up for QQQ. There were even calls going up for TQQQ, which is the triple leverage NASDAQ ETF. This LRCX saw a lot of flow. One of our members was asking me about this a little bit earlier. Let's take a look. Yeah, these are for June 18th, July 350s, July 450s, 500s. Wow. So yeah, let's see what, I believe this is Lamb Research. This put in a nice candle. This right here looks like it could be ready for a little explosion. So honestly, this is going to be at the top of my watch list. If the market really starts to break out, this thing looks like a coiled spring here. Look at these moving averages right on top of each other. And then we close right on the top of our range. This one, Lamb Research. Let's see what happens with it. But yeah, this one looks good. And then we had a bunch of Amazon call flow as well. Let's see if anything else really stuck out. Yeah, I would say we'll leave it there on the Lamb Research. That's the one that just seems like it's screaming out to everyone. So yeah, I think you can see this Arvel, a bunch of hedges going up in the S&P 500, of course. But with that being said, that about does it for this market recap video. Thank you so much for watching my videos. If you're interested in becoming a member of the Pristine Capital trading community, feel free to reach out to me if you're interested in doing a free trial and you want to see how the group functions. So you can go to pristinecapital.net for that. That being said, hope you all have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you all tomorrow.